we even get into the games, Cam, I got a question because there's a lot going on the internet, and why not ask you? So, Claressa Shields, what's going on? What's the issue? Can you kind of inform us a little bit about what's happening?
I had female stalkers before, but it's usually after I fuck them. I never had a female stalker that I didn't fuck. And this is kind of new for me. So this is actually what happened. I did the face-off between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor. I'm reading the cue cards. We talked about this last week, but I'm gonna fool my audience who don't know. I'm reading the cue cards. On the cue cards, it says, the most watched women's fight ever, Katie Taylor against Amanda Serrano. I don't know what's the most watched female boxing match. Now, don't get me wrong, I love female boxing, but I never studied who was the most watched female boxing match. So I'm just reading what's on the card. After that, she goes on a DMs me, yo, you got that wrong, champ. Da 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 da. I'm the most watched female fighter. Fine. I said, congratulations. But after last night, which was the next day after the Jake Paul main event with them, I said, you got some catching up to do. Cool. After that, she says, I look forward to breaking records. I put fire, fire, fire emoji. The next day after that, she does a 20-minute interview dissing me. Cam is trying to rewrite history. Cam don't know what he's talking about. Cam is crazy. This nigga, he don't like black women. Da 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 da. And I'm like, bro, all I did was read what was on the cue card. How I'm trying to rewrite history. I didn't know who was the most watched, but I did know after the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and they co-made an event, it was 50 million, 60 million, whatever it was, watching her. All this turns into Cam don't like black women. Cam is hating on me. I'm trying to rewrite history. I didn't know the history. So then I left it alone. I said what I said on the show. Then she tagging me in videos talking about, yeah, Cam, look at this, and that, third. So I left it alone. She tagged me again. So I DM'd her back. I said, this is stalking at this point. I don't want to give you the attention you don't want. You're going to get the attention that you don't want. I'm telling you. I said this in the DM. She said, let's go at it. And that's where it went. I'm just a funny nigga. So I just started clowning her. After I'm clowning her, she go back and forth, back and forth. Look, sir, I don't know you, homeboy. I don't know nothing you do but box. I have no opinion of you. I don't care if your fight was the most watched or not the most watched. My nigga, I do not know you from nowhere. So that's all the back and forth, but I was just having fun with it over the weekend. And she was putting up shit, I was putting up shit. But everything she was putting up, she don't know what the fuck she talking about. I got robbed. I never got robbed. Nigga tried to take my Lamborghini from me. I said no. I got shot up behind it. No disrespect, I'm not saying that's a smart thing to do. But you don't have your facts correct. When you get your facts correct, I'll tell you you're right, but all your facts are incorrect. Look, mister, I don't know you from nowhere. I hope you enjoy your life. I hope you have fun, but I don't know you. I'm not trying to rewrite history. I know one thing for sure, two things for certain. You don't have the most watched boxing female match ever. Ever, period. So that's all it was. That's what happened over the weekend.
So was all this over just the viewership?
That's all it's over. Whole shit is over the viewership. It all started, I'm trying to rewrite history. That's all it started. Then what happened was, I said, listen, you got 15 fights and 3 knockouts. Good. So she put up murder. She puts up, I'm mad I'm not in the studio. My flight got delayed. You got to get me out the murder. It's up to you to get me out the 2 with the demons. I wanted to be in studio for this. I'll be there tomorrow. But the point being is, it's all over viewership. That's all it's about. And then I put up, look, you got 15 fights and 3 knockouts. So she put up, you want to be the 4th knockout? So I put up when she was sparring with a nigga and the nigga knocked her out. and she ran her car to get her knife. I says, from everything I'm learning, because I learned about this girl all weekend because people tagging me. She want to fight every nigga. She want to fight Gennady Golovkin, Keith Thurman, what's my nigga? Porter, the nigga. She want to fight niggas. So I'm like, if you really a nigga, just say you a nigga. I don't know what you are at this point, but she has a problem, and when she want to fight Jake Paul, she want to fight mad niggas. So I showed her when she was fighting the nigga cleaned her clock. Stop playing with people like that. And then she got mad. But I did get offered to go on Mad Comedy tours this weekend. D-Ray hit me up. Cedric and Ted. Few niggas hit me, said, Cam, we'll give you 30 minutes, nigga. He said, Cam, if you want to go on a comedy, I said, I don't have a stand-up act, man. Few niggas hit me, I said, I'm not even really trying to be funny. I'm just telling you what's going on. But I did get offered to go on some comedy tours. But this is all over the viewership murder. That's exactly what this is over. So I said that Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano had the most views ever. That's what it's all over.
I think that's the misunderstanding. I think from hearing what Stat is saying, I don't really know, so anybody don't put me in it. But when it comes to viewership, she's basically saying that she was hosting this fight and she was the headliner of this fight, and those girls weren't. Is that the real beef? Stat, am I getting it correct?
Yeah. Basically, like, it was mainly about the viewership, and I don't know, because can I just say really quick?
Yeah.
The whole thing, and I'm not inserting myself into, I don't want any part of this. I'm just saying, when it was first discussed, Cam didn't say anything bad. So that's why I don't understand why, like, it just got so hostile. He actually was, like, praising her and was like, look, like, she like, that type of thing. It was never supposed to be any sort of discourse, argument. So what I'm just gonna say, if you'd like to chat, you guys can have a great discussion on the show. Everybody can say their sides.
That's my thing. So that's my thing too. Your publicist been begging for you to come on the show. I'm talking about begging. I didn't even tell Murder about it because I said it don't make no sense right now for her to come on the show. Whenever she got a fight, let her come on the show before her fight so it could promote the fight. Because I guess she was in Vegas a few times. There's like, can we please get on the show? And I'm like, it don't really make sense for us to come on the show. But you skipped the line. You want to come up? Come up. Come up tomorrow. I said, what's up? So come on up. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with that. I'm in agreement with that.
Cam, that was the night before the fight, right? The night you did your standoff with him?
I did the standoff thing the day before the fight. No. It was about 5 weeks, 5 days before the fight. They ended about 3 days before the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. But the guy, when I was there working the show, when I was hosting, the guy from MVP Promotions, that's exactly what he said. This is the most watched women fight in the history of women boxing. That's what he said. So I don't know. I mean, maybe she should go after him too. I'm just saying.
And there were other platforms also that said that that we're following old media or something like that. And I wanted them to know we're not following old media. That's an isolated incident, and we're here to clarify it. And anyone that feels different, feel free to just come on live and share your gripes. We really would like to hear it. Because we really like It Is What It Is to be a non-biased platform. Sometimes we give strong views because that's really how sometimes we feel about things, and we wanted to create a platform where people can say how they really feel. And some people are gonna get offended by certain things, and we understand that. We understand that's a part of the sport. But none of it is personal with me. I know that. And I don't think any of this is personal with Killer. I think he said what he was saying. And to her defense, if you would like to come up, Claressa, you're more than welcome. I'm letting you know that. Killer let you know that. Feel free to come up here because I would love to see you, talk to Killer and put him in his place, Put Put him in his place.
Put the things in. Put on him. His hands on his
Let me tell you something. A lot of people tried. A lot of people tried. A lot of people died.
Yeah, I've been around Killer a long time. I never seen a lady put him in his place. So I welcome you up here. You know?
A lot of people tried. A lot of people died.
I'm done. And I would just like to clarify one more time. None of this is scripted. Like, we're actually having an open,
we
because I think
just
people are
have
like, oh, no, I'm just as confused as probably y'all are. So that's why I asked. We're up here to get the answers. Everybody can speak their truth. It would be a great discussion.
And we're not trying to have messy TV. We just want a place where, and sometimes this happened with me and Killer when we're speaking, that we want this to be a place where everybody could bring their views to the table. Nobody has to let one view dominate the conversation. I think that's what makes healthy conversation, when everybody is able to say how they feel. Like, there's a guy just walked past here. He got on a pink paws hat, a pink Dipset outfit. He wears it every day. But, and we let him walk past. So we're open to everybody paws coming by,
And another thing, and one thing I'm going to say before we move on, Mace view is Mace view, stab view is stab view. I don't necessarily agree with their view all the time neither.
Yeah.
Like right now, I don't have to agree with them, because a lot of shit done got watered down on this show, my opinion. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. So come on up. Mace can be politically correct like he's talking, and I'm gonna be me, like I'm me. So come on up. So let them be. We don't all have the same opinion.
Oh, Killer, so I'm not saying I got a different opinion. Like, I don't want to hear the conversation. I'm for it. You know me, right? I'm for it. I believe that's how you bring the best pause out of people. Is let people figure it out.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm definitely not over here on a bias. I'm not biased. I'm never biased. I'm never neutral.
Right.
Okay.
And guys, and get all perspective. That's what we do here. That's what we do. And here's my last perspective on it too now. And you guys have gotten on me. We joked around about it. When somebody breaks my record in the 88 or strep in my, I said, wait a minute. I'm looking forward for them to break my record, because it builds on to the whole program. Now, I'm
Mike,
just saying,
Mike, and we're able to ask you that, though. We're able to ask you that.
Right,
that's what makes this a different show. We're able to ask you that question. Other places, they wouldn't ask it. They'll feel like that's disrespectful. This time, Killers asked me things I didn't necessarily want to communicate about it, but he asked the question. So we keep that same energy for everybody. So, just so Killer know that. We keeping that same energy with everybody. It don't matter who it is.
You get the perspective on it. You're right. But what I was saying is to get the perspective on it. That's why when you guys ask me, my job is to grow the sport best they can grow. I want all athletes, because it helps their pocket, it helps their business, it helps their sport to grow it. So if she got evidence that she had a bigger fight, that's fine. But if you didn't have a bigger fight, that's good. I mean, the sport is still growing. Look at the WNBA right now. Juju come in here next year, we want her to do the same thing Caitlin Clark did for the WNBA. If you really care about the sport and not just you, the individual, you should be happy when the sport is growing and everybody else is tuning in. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna let it go. You ain't gotta cut me up. Cam handled it by himself. Stay on Cam. But I just wanted to drop that in.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I did speak to my guys at MVP. After the holidays, Amanda Serrano will be coming on the show, and Jake Paul will be coming on the show after the holidays. So come on up.
Claressa Shields just accused Cam of racism over a boxing statistic. And once you see how this whole thing actually started, you're not going to believe how far it spiraled from something this small. It all began during coverage of the Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor fight. Cam was reading directly off a promotional card provided by MVP Promotions, and the card described that fight as the most watched women's boxing match ever. That's standard promotional language. Every fight gets sold this way, and hosts read those lines because that's the job. Cam wasn't offering his own opinion on boxing history. He wasn't ranking fighters. He was relaying a line someone else had already written. Claressa Shields saw the clip and slid into his DMs to correct him, saying she, not Serrano or Taylor, actually holds the record for most watched female fighter. Cam's first reply wasn't combative at all. He congratulated her. That matters because it shows the exchange didn't start from disrespect on his end. What shifted the tone was his follow-up, pointing out that after the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson event, where Serrano and Taylor were the co-main event and pulled somewhere between 50 and 60 million live streams, she had some catching up to do. It was a numbers comparison, but socially it landed as a challenge to her claim. Instead of coming back with numbers of her own, Shields responded with a full 20-minute interview reframing the entire exchange, and that's where things really took off. Her argument moved through 3 stages. First, Cam got his facts wrong. Then, Cam is trying to rewrite history. And finally, Cam doesn't like black women. Each stage raised the stakes higher than the last. The first stage was a factual dispute you could settle with data. The second accused him of deliberately distorting the record instead of just repeating a promotional line, shifting the conversation from who's right to who's lying. The third pulled the whole thing out of boxing entirely and turned it into a referendum on Cam's character. Once you're at that third stage, facts don't really matter anymore, because facts were never actually the subject. Cam didn't retract anything because there was nothing factually wrong in what he'd said. He also didn't engage directly with the racial accusation, which would have just kept that frame alive. He said his piece once on the show and let it sit. But Shields kept tagging him in posts, clearly trying to keep the conflict visible. At that point, Cam told her directly this was starting to look like stalking and warned she was about to get attention she didn't want. Her response was, "Let's go at it," which was basically an open invitation to escalate. And from there, it turned into a full public back and forth. What's notable about how Cam handled it from that point is what he actually used. He didn't fabricate anything about her personal life. He only used information she'd already made public herself, including an incident involving an attempted robbery of her vehicle that ended with her being shot, and her own history of public confrontations. By sticking to things she'd already disclosed, he took away her ability to call anything he said unfair or made up, since it all came from her own mouth. He also got offered spots on a couple of comedy tours off the back of how he was handling the exchange, which he turned down, saying he wasn't trying to be funny, just stating facts. That detail says less about comedy and more about how the exchange was actually being read publicly, someone staying in control under provocation, not someone attacking. Now here's where the show's panel comes in, because how they handled this says a lot about what the show actually is. Stat Baby jumped in to clarify the tone of the original comment, pointing out, without taking sides, that Cam's initial remarks about Shields were complimentary, not dismissive. He'd acknowledged her desire to headline and be recognized. There was no hostility at the start. The hostility only entered once the narrative shifted toward rewriting history and racial bias, and neither of those framings came from anything Cam actually said. That's the real point of failure here. Not the original statement, but what got layered on top of it afterward. Mace added something important too. He confirmed that during his own time around the fight, a rep from MVP Promotions used that exact most watched phrase directly, which means the claim never originated with Cam at all. It came from the promotional team running the event. If there's a real complaint about the accuracy of that claim, it belongs with MVP Promotions, not the guy reading their card on air. Killer's contribution framed the bigger picture of why the show handled it this way at all. He said flat out that the show isn't modeling itself after old media. It's not trying to be a neutral, risk-averse platform that avoids friction to stay safe. The whole model is built on hosts saying what they actually think, even when it creates tension, because the alternative is a sanitized show that says nothing real. So instead of trying to smooth this over quietly, the show extended a direct, on-air invitation for Shields to come on, sit across from Cam, and let both sides make their case live, with no editing and no delay. That matters because it turns an uneven online fight, DMs and posts that can be deleted or reframed after the fact, into something symmetric, where both people answer in real time and can't control the narrative afterward. Killer also made the point that the show doesn't require everyone to agree, that he and Mace often see things differently, with Mace leaning more diplomatic and Killer more direct, and that this difference is treated as a strength of the format rather than something to smooth over. Then he tied it back to something bigger than any single fighter's claim to a record, comparing it to how the 1BA has grown recently off new star power. His point was simple. If a fighter has real evidence of a bigger fight, fine, put it out there. But if the sport overall is growing because of crossover events like Serrano-Taylor landing on the Paul Tyson card, that growth benefits every fighter in the sport, not just whoever gets credited with one specific viewership record. Treating who has more viewers as a zero-sum fight misses the actual point, which is that more eyes on women's boxing is good for everyone in it. There's also a layer to this worth mentioning. During the back and forth, it came out that Shields has publicly called out a number of male fighters over the years, including Gennady Golovkin, Keith Thurman, and Sean Porter, along with expressing interest in fighting Jake Paul. Cam brought up a case where a female fighter faced a male opponent and lost decisively, using it to question whether these call-outs should just be taken at face value. His point wasn't really about that one fight. It was about a pattern of high-profile challenges that never actually turn into fights, which he argued should make people a little more skeptical of any record-holding claim too. And it's worth noting that Shields herself leaned into the trash talk register throughout a lot of this, responding under the nickname Murder and joking that her flight delay kept her from getting to the studio in time to defend herself. That's an important detail, because it shows this wasn't purely a one-sided hostile attack. Both of them were operating in that same combative boxing banter space for a good chunk of the exchange, even while the much more serious racial accusation was sitting on top of it at the same time. Two different registers running simultaneously. Genuine trash talk both parties leaned into willingly, and a categorically different, much more serious claim that doesn't really fit into a trash talk framework at all. That overlap is exactly what made this so easy to misread, depending on which clip you happen to see first. So, where does this actually leave things? A promotional line written by a fight's own marketing team got read by a host doing his job, then got reattributed to him personally as if it were his own deliberate claim. That reattribution triggered a response that escalated in 3 clear stages: factual dispute, accusation of dishonesty, accusation of racial bias, none of which were rooted in anything Cam actually said. And instead of trying to quietly kill the story, the show did the opposite. They invited Shields on directly, no script, no edits, both sides given equal room to talk it out. With Amanda Serrano and Jake Paul both confirmed to appear on the show after the holidays, and Shields' invitation still standing, this one's not actually closed yet. The next few weeks could genuinely determine whether this stays a footnote or turns into something bigger. So let me know, do you think Cam handled this the right way, or do you think Shields has a real point buried under all the noise? Drop your take in the comments, and stay tuned, because if she takes that invitation up, we'll be covering every second of it.